Hey, my reactor, so I'm on chapter 16, Peer Orphans. Christmas came and went at the orphanage with a short, big, ragged tree put up in a recreation room by the nuns, extra church services, and gifts for each child, as a book or small toy donated by the parishioners at the St. Vincent's. Peer received a stuffed rabbit with pink ears and gave it to Gigi. A week later, Pia looked up from feeding Nicola and saw Sister Agnes enter the baby ward and march down the center aisle, the cross around her waist swinging back and forth. Pia sat up straighter, hoping the nun was coming to tell her Mother Joe had finally approved of her release. Then she noticed a nurse behind her with a baby girl on one hip and her stomach twisted. It was the nurse who threatened to have her sent for a mental evaluation, Nurse Wallace. What was she doing here? The nurse stopped at the crib and viewed the baby inside, her hand over her heart. The girl on her hip looked to be around 10 months old, with a head full of red hair that reminded Pia of Finn's mother. She was barefooted and bare-legged, in a dress that looked two sizes too big. Why hadn't Nurse Wallace left the baby at the front desk like the last time? If only Pia could leave or hide instead of facing her again. But there was nowhere to go. All she could do was keep quiet and concentrate on feeding Nicole. Sister Agnes addressed Pia and Edith, who was folding diapers at the changing table. Girls, she said, this is Nurse Wallace. She's dropping off this poor child who was left outside the steps of a hospital. Bless her heart. Not to mention, along with her regular duties, she recently found homes for three of our hard to place older children. Isn't that wonderful? Yes, Sister Agnes, Edith and Pia said at the same time. Sister Agnes turned towards the nurse. Surely there was a special place in heaven for you, Nurse Wallace. Color rose on Nurse Wallace's cheeks, and she gave them none an awkward smile. It's my pleasure, sister, she said. I already love helping children. Pia looked directly at the nurse for the first time since she came into the room. If she loved helping children, would she help her more than anything? Pia wanted to ask if she run across twin boys, baby boys on her visit to orphanages and hospitals. But what if she was still upset about their last encounter and followed through with her threat? Sister Agnes took the baby girl from Nurse Wallace and directed her attention to Edith. Please show Nurse Wallace the youngest infant in our care, she said. It seems she found a lovely Christmas Christian couple willing to take one of our babies, another blessing. To be sure. Yes, Sister Agnes, Edith said. She finished folding the diapers in her hands, then led Nurse Wallace into the sea of cribs. With Nikali fed and asleep in her arms, Pia stood and approached Sister Agnes and the red-haired baby girl. She's beautiful, she said. The little girl seemed confused and frightened as she blinked and looked around with glassy hazel eyes. This is Alana, Sister Agnes said, pushing a stray of curls off the girl's forehead with a gentle hand. It's a charming name, isn't it? It certainly is, Pia said. She cupped Alana's cheeks in her hands and smiled at her, blushing her thumbs, brushing her thumbs across her soft skin and waiting. Thankfully, no pain throbbed in Pia's head. No nausea churned in her stomach. The girl felt healthy. Pia tickled her under the chin. Hello, Alanya. I know you're scared, but we'll take good care of you, I promise. Sister Agnes beamed at Pia. Bless you, child. You certainly found your calling helping these destitute children. I'm sure there's a special place in heaven for you, too, right next to Nurse Wallace. Pia formed a weak smile. If Sister Agnes knew the truth about her brothers, she wouldn't think Pia had found her calling, or that she deserved a special place in heaven. Quite the opposite. And surely the nuns wouldn't let her take care of the babies at St. Vincent's. Shame crept up her neck, making her skin hot and itchy. Sister Agnes, she said in a quiet voice, yes, child. May I ask you something? Of course. Sister Agnes brushed another curl from the little girl's forehead and tried to push her head behind her ears so it would stay out her face. Do you think Nurse Wallace might know something about my brothers, or maybe she'll be willing to look for them? I have no idea, Sister Agnes said. I suppose it wouldn't hurt to ask. She kept fussing with the baby, straightening the collar on her dirty dress. rubbing a smudge from her cheek. Could you ask for me? Sister Agnes looked at her, then surprised. Whatever for, she seems nice enough and more than willing to help. There's absolutely no reason to be afraid of her, and you know what they say. Child, the Lord helps those who help themselves. Saying she had every reason to be afraid of Nurse Wallace was on the tip of Pia's tongue, but obviously Sister Agnes hadn't heard about the incident with the baby in the foyer. Pia was about to tell her what happened when Edith and Nurse Wallace came back down the aisle. Nurse Wallace had a baby boy in her arms, a 3-month-old named Joseph, who had arrived a few days ago. Sister Agnes put Anana in a crib with another baby and hurried to meet them. Pia laid Nicole in the crib and followed, trying to gather her courage. If it turned out to be the only chance she had to ask the nurse for help, she couldn't waste no time. No matter how scared she was, but she had to be careful. And I will be back to continue with Pia because I'm cooking and reading at the same time. Bye, my reactors.